So after 292 days out injured, we have finally had the news that Lisandro Martinez is close to being ready for selection for Manchester United. And that could be absolutely massive when it comes to solving some of our biggest problems. So I'm sure you will have seen after the Spurs game that Ruben Amorim made this comment about wanting the centre-backs one day to control the tempo for Manchester United. That's sort of his vision with what he wants his team to become. He wants these players to dominate the ball for United and to control the speed. And I think often when we think about tempo, we think about speeding the play up, being a player that increases the speed of the play. But it's importantly also about slowing the game down. Tempo control is about going fast and slow. And that's something that Lisandro Martinez is very good at. And actually probably one of the best centre-backs anywhere in world football when it comes to doing this. And the reason why he's so good is because he's not scared of pressure, he doesn't avoid pressure. In fact, he often seeks it and actually encourages it. A lot of defenders in world football like to release the ball before the opposition get close because they don't want to lose the ball in a dangerous position. Lisandro Martinez is sort of the complete opposite. He slows the game down, entices people in, which then allows him to speed the play up. And that could be very, very useful. We've seen for United really, ever since Ruben Amorim came into the club, there's been a bit of a problem when we face mid blocks and low blocks. When it comes to dominating the ball and breaking a team down, we've struggled to do that. And the reason is because the opposition are able to get so many numbers behind the ball and so many numbers close to each other. What United need to get better at doing is moving them about, drawing them out of position to then create spaces that we can explore. Lisandro Martinez can be perfect for that because he will take extra touches. He intentionally slows the game down because he knows that when he does that, the opposition sort of are encouraged out of their block. They sort of go towards Lisandro Martinez thinking they've got an opportunity to win the ball. So for example, this right winger might start to close down our centre-back. But Lisandro Martinez is in control. He's got the ability to turn on a dime. He's absolutely fantastic on the ball. He's press resistant, turns very well, manipulates very well to often completely take this player out of the game. And that's where we can then see the speed, the tempo increase. So he slows the game down with extra touches. He draws the player in and then speeds play up. And that's where Manchester United can now find space that we can explore. That could be Bruno Fernandes, Cunha, Dorgu, one of the forwards dropping in. It could be anyone. But the point is we can draw out opposition players using our centre-back to create more room in midfield where you'd think we can then be more creative. Now, the other reason why Lisandro Martinez will be really useful United in possession is because he is phenomenal in possession. He is, in my opinion, one of the very, 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 very best ball-playing centre-backs anywhere in world football. I think he is absolutely phenomenal. Whether that be drawing pressure, baiting people towards him, whether that be short passes, long passes, progressive passes, dribbling past people. I think Lisandro Martinez can do a little bit of everything, and that is something that United need, and it could be really, really useful for two of his new teammates. You see, Lisandro Martinez has not yet played this season, which means he hasn't played alongside Cunha or Bryan Mbeumo, two players which he could develop the greatest relationship with. Lisandro Martinez is incredible at punching the ball through the lines. We just happen to have a player playing on the same side as Licha who likes to receive the ball in between the lines. Like, that could be a match made in heaven. If Lisandro Martinez is able to feed the ball through the lines for Cunha to receive on his back foot before then turning and driving at the opposition, that could be a lethal weapon. Finding players in these pockets of space could be absolutely crucial, and Lisandro Martinez can be perfect for that. This could really be a bit of a dream dynamic. And I think if we now start to look at the technical quality that we've got on the left-hand side, it looks really strong all of a sudden, especially if we were to bring someone in at left wing-back in January, but that's probably a conversation for another day. Interestingly though, Lisandro Martinez can also have a relationship with someone on the right-hand side, Bryan Mbeumo. Now initially this doesn't make too much sense because they are miles away from each other. How can they have a dynamic with each other? Well, there's a couple of ways. First of all, Mbeumo does occasionally drop into midfield. He does occasionally become the extra man. We were looking at short diagonal passes the other day. Lisandro Martinez can play them. Bryan Mbeumo can receive them. This is something that we could see. That could be a weapon for United in terms of ball progression. However, we actually have something which could be even more dangerous here, and that is the long ball over the top. Now, you may remember that we have seen a long ball over the top from Lisandro Martinez before, playing from the left-hand side towards the right, and it just happened to lead to a very important goal for United. But we've seen it on other occasions as well. It just so happens that Bryan Mbeumo is incredible at timing his run in behind the opposition defence, moving from the right towards the left as he bends his run inside. So as Lisandro Martinez picks up the ball, and this time the opposition choose to sit off and maintain their structure, look for Bryan Mbeumo making runs off the ball, from out to in, from the right-hand side, into that space. And you best believe that Lisandro Martinez can find that pass, because he's a player that plays with his head up. He'll often put his studs on the ball, take a second, look up, assess the situation, before playing a progressive pass. It could be an absolute dream dynamic with Mbeumo, but also with Cunha. The introduction of Lisandro Martinez back into the team could also open up some tactical versatility for United, because when you get a player like this that is so good on the ball, an absolute specialist, it means the roles of the players around him can be a little bit different. For example, we often play Bruno Fernandes deep in midfield because we believe he is our best progressive passer. He is the player best suited to picking up the ball and feeding it through the lines, allowing United to progress via passing. What if we now add Lisandro Martinez into the mix? Is there a potential window now to move Bruno Fernandes a little bit further forward? For example, Šeško right now is out injured. Could we move Cunha up front into this position here? And could Bruno Fernandes be bumped a little bit higher because we no longer need his deep passing? Potentially. Because we've got Lisandro Martinez who can do that job. Now, if we wanted to, we could try and find a different profile into the team. Someone like Kobbie Mainoo, who brings tighter ball control, better tight space work. That's something that United could do. Lisandro Martinez could open up a different tactical solution for us here. Something else that we could potentially do, if we just move all of these players back in, is bring someone different in at left wing back. Now, you might think, how does that work? Because Lisandro Martinez's return doesn't sign us a new player, but it does free up a new player. Luke Shaw has been playing left centre-back all season, literally every Premier League match so far, but he has always felt that he is more of an attacking fullback. He's already said this season he'll play anywhere for his manager, but he does feel that at heart he is a left wing back in this system. Now, of course, there is a big question of fitness here. Does he have the physical capability to do it? I'm not sure. But if he can, the return of Lisandro Martinez allows him to do that, because his left foot is no longer needed here, because Licha can do it, so Shaw can go a little bit further forward. And in terms of what that brings United in the final third, it's just a different dynamic. We know that Shaw is by far our best crossing fullback. He's probably our second or third best crosser at the club, behind the likes of Mbeumo and Bruno. But apart from that, his delivery is absolutely fantastic, and that is something that United have lacked over the past 12 months. We often find ourselves with a spare man over here, and then we lack the ability to deliver. Luke Shaw would completely change that, and it's a possibility because of Lisandro Martinez being back in the team. The other potential change that we could see is a slight move with Bryan Mbeumo. We saw this against Spurs. Mbeumo moved over to the left-hand side. If that was something that we wanted to do more regularly, more frequently, Lisandro Martinez is perfect, because he absolutely loves a scooped ball into this channel of space here. We know that Cunha isn't typically the sort of player that would want to chase that over here. But if you played Bryan Mbeumo and ask him to run into that channel, he will do it all day long. Like I said, he did it fantastically against Spurs. And it's just something else which Licha unlocks for us. When you've got a player that is this good on the ball and playing so deep, it means that the players ahead of him can start to do something just a little bit different. And as always, that versatility and adaptability really is huge for a manager. Now, I guess as Lisandro Martinez is a centre-back, we should probably talk about some defensive stuff as well, because that is sort of in the job description. We know that Lisandro Martinez can help Manchester United when we are pressing, when we are looking to play higher, because he's a confident individual and he is an aggressive individual. Now, there are some question marks over how he will return from another lengthy injury. It will, without doubt, take a toll on his body. Will it affect him mentally, psychologically, the way that he approaches things? I wouldn't think so. I don't think it's in his character, so I don't think we will have too much of a problem there. But there might be a slight concern with things like sprint speed, ground coverage, and sort of sharp turning. That might be a bit of a problem. Hopefully it's not. If it's not, he can be a very useful player for us when we are pressing. We know against Brighton recently, Luke Shaw squeezing from the defence, connecting with the rest of the team, was crucial to a couple of the goals that we scored in that game. Lisandro Martinez is probably the sort of player that can take that to the next level because of his confidence and because of his natural aggression. He wants to fight people, basically, so put him in a role where he's able to leave that defensive position. And it happens when United move to more of the 4-4-2 out of possession. So let's say Šeško and Mbeumo form the front two, Amad and Cunha pick up the wide zones. We then see Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro in midfield, with Yoro, De Ligt, Lisandro Martinez and Patrick Dorgu now shifting across, and we end up in this 4-4-2 situation. However, recently we have been tempted, I guess, to take it one step further, because we have seen Bruno Fernandes moving a little bit further forward to try and connect a little bit higher, no longer playing as a central midfielder out of possession, but actually almost as a 10 in this position here. For that to work, for that to be successful, you need a centre-back that can come and fill this space in this position here. Well, up steps Lisandro Martinez. He is the perfect sort of player for going into that zone and picking up these extra players, potentially allowing United to go man for man. And I think the important thing here is not just that he's capable, but that he wants to. We've seen certain other centre-backs, Lenny Yoro for example, sometimes a little bit hesitant, a little bit worried about engaging in these moments. I don't think you'll get that with the Argentinian because it's just in his nature to play on the front foot. Now, of course, as I said earlier, this is not something that will happen overnight. We need to be patient and we need to take our time. Lisandro Martinez will not play 90 minutes this weekend. It will be a case of slowly easing him back into the team. We have to get his rehabilitation into the squad right. We cannot afford another injury for this man because he doesn't deserve that in his career. However, if we can get it right, if we can get him up to speed, if we can get him fit and sharp and ready to play regularly, he could be an incredibly useful player for United, particularly in those games where we dominate the ball and we've got to try and find a way through the opposition. He is handcrafted, he is perfectly made and suited to those matches where United are dominant at Old Trafford and trying to find a way through. And that's why I think this is such a boost for the squad. Add on top of that his leadership and his aggression, his confidence and things like that. You've got yourself an excellent player that is going to play a huge role this season. Apart from that, I think that is everything that I wanted to discuss for today. So we are going to wrap the video up there. So thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, please leave a like, subscribe and get your notifications on. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.